catch it, it's gonna be game over, buddy.
Ooh, looky, another game that wants to try and cream my cookie. Well, let's find out what a roll in the sack with Serious Sam 3 is like. Serious Sam 3 was suggested to me by a subscriber, and luckily enough it was one of those games that I've had kicking around in my collection for quite some time. I knew very little about Serious Sam before starting it, but the few details I could remember about it made me rethink the kind of games that I should be looking at to get me back into first person shooters. Basically, Serious Sam is a bullet hell horde shooter with big bullet sponge bosses. Your objective is to kill everything between point A and point B. Due to the nature of the game, for the majority of it you're going to be constantly moving and shooting. This meant that I had to brush up on my strafing skills, as well as getting used to a 360 controller again. I really hope that you like cheesy puns and terrible dialogue, because this game has a lot of it. It's always a sad day when a character aspires to be Duke Nukem, but what's even sadder is when Duke Nukem flops out the other end looking better. From the start the signs weren't good as the helicopter we were in clips out. This level of poor quality control is worse than Call of Duty World War II's knife clipping issues. It's always a major red flag when there's amateur level technical issues in the very first cutscene. From here you can only reasonably ask yourself, what the hell is the rest of the game going to be like? It didn't take long to find that out, as the first enemy was on me before I had a chance to acquaint myself with the button layout. Not only did I not know how to do anything, but I was completely confused by what the hell was trying to kill me. It looked like something that was rejected from Scooby-Doo. And what the hell are the groping hands about? Why can't Sam throw a punch like a normal person? As far as I can tell, the hands don't actually do anything, because I killed this blob by pressing A. Oh look, the blob's textures popped in. So that's the first cutscene and the first enemy gone to shit. I have to say, it was a really poor start for Serious Sam. The next issue I found was when I wanted to equip a pistol to put down some lad that heard how good creaming my cookie is. I knew I had one, but I couldn't figure out how to equip it. I pressed Y, but I only switched between the sledgehammer and my hands. This is because this game has the same retarded weapon swapping system as Wolfenstein. This system keeps two weapons active, which can be changed by pressing Y. If you want something else you have to equip it from the hotbar using the D-pad. However, the game always keeps the last weapon you had equipped as one of your active weapons. What this means is when you switch a gun, what you have just switched out is still equipped as your other active weapon, because it is the last weapon you had equipped. I will demonstrate why this is fucking retarded using this section as an example. So I started this section with my sledgehammer and pistol, but unbeknownst to me my pistol got switched for the hands when I melee killed the guy. A bit later on, when I wanted to get my pistol out, it wasn't there because the game had swapped it out for my hands. I wasn't expecting not to have my pistol, and I was a bit clueless as to why I didn't have it anymore. This resulted in the kamikaze guy killing me. I found out later that it's mapped to left and down on the D-pad, as if I was going to guess it was going to fucking be there. I got caught out so many times from this pain in the arse of auto-equipping that I developed the habit of equipping both guns that I wanted every fucking time I used something different. It's definitely in your interest to just stick to two guns as long as you possibly can. If you do switch or do a melee kill, you must make sure that you equip both your workhorses again immediately afterwards, to avoid getting fucked over with this problem. The other problem this auto-equipping system causes comes later on in the game, because some enemies are easier to kill using the melee. This again switches one of your guns to the hands, which means that you're constantly re-equipping what you want just in case something else turns up. Why didn't they just get rid of the hands but keep the melee kills? This system is so needlessly frustrating and unintuitive that I've decided from now on any game that has this system can simply fuck off. Yay, no more shitty Dooms or Wolfensteins for me. Happy days. Despite Serious Sam's terrible looks, animations, overall quality, dialogue and weapon swapping system, it's no joke people. In fact, the bastard doesn't let up soon after you start it. This is because every few steps that you take you'll hit a trigger point that will release the hounds. Once you have killed them and moved on a bit further, you'll hit another trigger point. It doesn't take long before this relentless cycle becomes a real slog. I think they decided to go with this relentless enemy spawning to get out of doing real level design, with the thinking that the player won't notice how basic it all is because there's always something there to shoot. A terrible trade-off in my opinion, because basically I quickly compared Serious Sam 3 to one of those crappy shovelware zombie horde games. You know, the ones where you get a few guns and X number of zombies to kill in a small area. At its core, that is what this game is. The only difference between them is that this game is original with its enemies and guns, and it's bigger. If you've been unfortunate enough to play one of those zombie games, then you'll get what I mean when I said this game quickly becomes a slog. Mentally, it broke me down. I got so bored that I lost the will to shoot anything. I see another horde coming and I just sigh when I think about how long it's going to take to kill them all and how many more bastards I'm going to have to kill afterwards. Something I kept asking myself while playing this was, is the ability to do this game down to skill or one's ability to hold on to a high level of concentration for an extended period of time? I think this is the perfect game for the kind of person that can zone out for hours and keep performing the same repetitive task effectively. However, for me it felt like an 8-hour shift screwing bottle lids on. It didn't take long before I'd seen enough and just didn't care about Serious Sam's torture test. Though I have to thank Serious Sam for helping me narrow down my search for a decent first-person shooter, I can't be too thankful as I've developed a special hatred for this knockoff Kabutops. Because of this arsehole, I will never look at Kabutops in the same way again. So not only has this game chipped away a bit more of my faith of finding a decent first-person shooter again, but it's also made me hate a little bit more of my childhood. For that, I think Serious Sam deserves a serious punch to the gut and a loogie on the back of its head. So I'm personally going to blame Serious Sam for Doom 2016's fixation with glory kills. Yes, I think someone somewhere in that godforsaken studio at id Software saw how Serious Sam did it, then thought, hey, we can do that, but we'll do it for every trash mob in the game. Better yet, let's make it the most effective way to kill most of the enemies. Fuck both of you. Fuck both of you. Let's wrap this shit show up. I don't understand why there isn't a crouch in the game, when they have designed some levels like a run-of-the-mill military shooter. And this is yet another game that has got the auto-aim on as standard, which doesn't truly turn off, even when it is turned off. On reflection, maybe this is the only game I have come across that actually needs it, but having it on would make it even more boring. That's pretty much all I have to say about this game. It has some interesting enemies, lots of guns and very long loading times. I mean, lots of levels to find them in. But it's not a cheap game to get hold of these days, as the Ultimate Collection for the 360 goes for about 15 quid, and it certainly isn't worth that. Especially when one of the early Dooms can be picked up for a couple quid in the sales. Doom is better than this because it has good design and pacing, as well as offering sections of all-out brainless shooting. All Serious Sam does is throw everything it possibly can at you constantly with poor balancing. If you really want a game you can zone out to and casually shoot ridiculous enemies, go get one of the Earth Defense games. I recently picked up 4.1 on the PS4 sale for £3.19. So all in all, Serious Sam probably was a bit too serious for me, as I found parts of it simply impossible. The game couldn't keep my attention with the slog of never-ending repeating hordes and uninspiring levels. For me, by today's standards, this game is shovelware.